Imagine this. You wake up one morning and the air feels different. The world hasn't changed. The sun still rises. The birds still sing. The streets hum with their usual rhythm. But something inside you has shifted. You've made a decision, one that feels both inevitable and terrifying. You've decided to walk away. It might be from a relationship, a job, a friendship, or even a version of yourself that no longer fits. The details don't matter as much as the act itself. What matters is the quiet storm that follows. The ripples you cannot see, but know are there. The people you leave behind, the spaces you vacate, the roles you abandon, they all feel it. But what, exactly, do they feel? And why does it matter so much? Here's the paradox. Walking away is often framed as an act of liberation, a bold step towards self-discovery and authenticity. Yet, for those left behind, it can feel like an earthquake, a sudden, destabilizing force that shakes the very ground they sod. Stand on. Why does your absence carry such weight? Why does your decision to leave, something so personal, so inward, create such profound outward consequences? Carl Jung, the pioneering psychologist who delved into the depths of the human psyche, might say it's because we are all interconnected in ways we barely understand. Your decision to walk away doesn't just affect you, it reverberates through the collective unconscious, the shared reservoir of human experience and emotion. When you leave, you disrupt the delicate balance of relationships, roles, and expectations. You force others to confront something they may have been avoiding, something about themselves, about you, or about the nature of connection itself. But here's the unsettling question. What if their reaction to your departure says more about them than it does about you? What if their anger, their grief, their confusion, or even their indifference is a mirror reflecting their own unresolved fears, desires, and insecurities? And what if, in walking away, you've inadvertently handed them a gift, a chance to confront what they've been too afraid to face? This is the great tension at the heart of human relationships. We are drawn to each other, bound by love, duty, or circumstance, yet we are also individuals with our own paths to walk. When those paths diverge, as they often must, the emotional fallout can be immense. But why? Why does your absence feel like a betrayal to some and a relief to others? Why does it leave some people questioning their worth, while others feel a strange sense of liberation? Perhaps it's because walking away is not just an act, it's a statement. It says, "This no longer serves me." It says, "I choose myself." And in a world that often demands self-sacrifice, that statement can feel like a threat. It forces others to ask themselves uncomfortable questions. Have I been serving myself, or have I been serving others at the expense of myself? Have I been living authentically, or have I been playing a role to keep the peace? These questions are not easy to answer. They require a level of self-awareness and courage that many people are not ready to confront, and that's where the real tension lies. Your decision to walk away doesn't just change your life, it holds up a mirror to everyone around you. It forces them to see themselves in a new light, and not everyone is ready for what they might find. So what do people feel when you decide to walk away? The answer is as complex as the human psyche itself. They might feel abandoned, betrayed, or rejected. They might feel relieved, liberated, or inspired. But beneath all these emotions lies something deeper, a confrontation with the self, a reckoning with the parts of their psyche they've been avoiding. And this is where Carl Jung's insights become indispensable. He understood that every relationship, every connection, is a dance between the conscious and the unconscious, the personal and the collective. When you walk away, you disrupt that dance. You force everyone involved to step back and ask, who am I without this person? Who am I without this role? Who am I without this role? Who am I when the music stops? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary ones. And as we delve deeper into this topic, we'll explore the hidden forces at play, the psychological, philosophical, and societal roots of this phenomenon. We'll uncover why your absence can feel like a seismic event and what it reveals about the nature of human connection. But for now, sit with this thought. When you walk away, you are not just leaving something behind. You are also leaving something behind in others, a question, a challenge, a mirror, and what they do with it is up to them. The real question is, to understand why your decision to walk away creates such profound ripples, we must first confront the hidden problem at the heart of human relationships, the illusion of permanence. We are creatures of habit, wired to seek stability and predictability in a world that is inherently unstable and unpredictable. We build our lives around certain assumptions, that the people we love will always be there, that the roles we play will always matter, that the connections we forge will endure. But what happens when those assumptions are shattered? Carl Jung would argue that this illusion of permanence is rooted in the collective unconscious, the shared reservoir of archetypes, symbols, and instincts that shape human behavior. Within this collective unconscious lies the archetype of the eternal bond, the idea that certain relationships are meant to last forever. This archetype is reinforced by cultural narratives, religious teachings, and societal expectations. We are told that love is eternal, that loyalty is sacred, that walking away is a betrayal of these ideals. But here's the paradox. While we cling to the idea of permanence, we are also deeply aware of its fragility. We know on some level that nothing lasts forever, not love, not loyalty, not even life itself. This awareness creates a tension within us, a conflict between our desire for stability and our fear of loss. And when someone walks away, that tension is brought to the surface. This is where the hidden problem reveals itself. The pain, anger, or confusion that others feel when you leave is not just about your absence, it's about the confrontation with their own mortality, their own impermanence. Your decision to walk away forces them to confront the uncomfortable truth that nothing is guaranteed, that even the most sacred bonds can be broken. And for many, this realization is unbearable. But why is it so unbearable? To answer this, we must turn to the philosophical roots of this phenomenon. Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who dared to stare into the abyss, once wrote, "When you look long into an abyss, the abyss also looks into you." When someone walks away, they hold up a mirror to the abyss within us, the void that we spend our lives trying to fill with relationships, achievements, and distractions. Your absence forces others to look into that void, and what they see is often terrifying. Arthur Schopenhauer, another philosopher who delved into the nature of human suffering, argued that our desire for permanence is a form of attachment, a clinging to things that are inherently transient. This attachment, he believed, is the root of all suffering. When you walk away, you disrupt that attachment. When you walk away, you disrupt that attachment. You force others to confront the impermanence of all things, and in doing so, you expose them to the raw, unfiltered reality of existence. But the problem goes even deeper. Jean-Paul Sartre, the existentialist philosopher, would argue that your decision to walk away also forces others to confront their own freedom, and with it, their own responsibility. Sartre believed that we are condemned to be free, that we are ultimately responsible for our own choices and actions. When you leave, you remind others of this freedom. You force them to ask themselves, if this person can walk away, what does that mean for me? Am I free to leave as well? Or am I trapped by my own choices? This confrontation with freedom can be deeply unsettling. It forces people to question the narratives they've built around their lives, the stories they tell themselves about who they are and what they owe to others. And for many, this questioning is deeply threatening. It challenges their sense of identity, their sense of purpose, their sense of self. But the hidden problem doesn't end there. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, would argue that your decision to walk away also forces others to confront the meaning, or lack thereof, in their own lives. Frankl believed that the search for meaning is the primary drive of human existence. When you leave, you disrupt the meaning that others have attached to you. You force them to ask themselves, what does my life mean without this person? What does my life mean without this role? What does my life mean when the story I've been telling myself falls apart? This is the psychological and philosophical root of the problem. Your decision to walk away is not just an act of self-preservation or self-discovery, it's a catalyst for existential questioning. It forces others to confront the illusions they have been living under. the attachments they've been clinging to, the meanings they've been constructing. And for many, this confrontation is deeply painful. But here's the crucial insight: the pain they feel is not your burden to carry, it is theirs. Your decision to walk away may have triggered it, but it did not create it. The pain was always there, buried beneath the surface, waiting to be acknowledged. Your absence simply brought it to light, and this is where the real work begins. For those left behind, the challenge is not to resist the pain, but to embrace it, to use it as a catalyst for growth, for self-discovery, for transformation. For you, the challenge is to recognize that your decision to walk away, while deeply personal, is also deeply universal. It is a reminder that we are all on our own journeys, that we are all responsible for our own choices, and that we are all capable of finding meaning in the face of loss. But this is only the beginning. As we delve deeper into this topic, we'll explore the unseen consequences of walking away, the ways in which this act silently shapes personal and societal realities. We'll uncover the cognitive biases, neurological insights, and cultural conditioning that make your absence so powerful. And we'll begin to see how this phenomenon is not just about you or the people you leave behind. It's about the very nature of human connection itself. For now, sit with this thought. When you walk away, you are not just leaving something behind. You are also revealing something hidden, something universal, something profoundly human. And what others do with that revelation is up to them. The moment you walk away, something invisible begins to unfold. A cascade of emotional, psychological, and even societal shifts that ripple far beyond your immediate presence. These are the unseen consequences, the silent tremors that reverberate through the lives of those you leave behind, and, in some ways, through your own life as well. They are not always obvious, but they are always profound. Let's start with the individual level. When you leave, you create a vacuum. A space where you once were, where your energy, your presence, your role once filled the air. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so do people. They scramble to fill it, often in ways that reveal more about themselves than they might care to admit. Some will try to replace you, seeking out someone or something to fill the void. Others will retreat into themselves, withdrawing from the world as if to protect themselves from further loss. And still others will lash out, projecting their pain onto you or onto those around them. But why do they react this way? The answer lies in the intricate web of cognitive biases and psychological mechanisms that govern human behavior. One of the most powerful of these is the endowment effect, a cognitive bias that causes people to value something more highly simply because they possess it. When you walk away, you disrupt this bias. You force others to confront the reality that what they once valued, what they once took for granted, is no longer theirs to possess. This realization can trigger a range of emotions, from grief to anger to desperation. Another powerful mechanism at play is loss aversion, the psychological principle that the pain of losing something is far greater than the pleasure of gaining it. Your absence is felt as a loss, and for many, this loss is deeply painful. It's not just the loss of your presence, it's the loss of the future they had imagined with you, the loss of the role you played in their lives, the loss of the stability you provided. This pain is amplified by the sunk cost fallacy, the tendency to cling to something simply because of the time, energy, or emotion already invested in it. When you walk away, you force others to confront the reality that their investment may have been in vain. A realization that can be both humbling and humiliating, but the unseen consequences go even deeper. On a neurological level, your absence can trigger the same pathways in the brain that are activated by physical pain. Studies have shown that social rejection and emotional loss activate the anterior cingulate cortex, the same region of the brain that processes physical pain. This is why the pain of losing someone can feel so visceral, so all-consuming. It's not just in your mind, it's in your body. And then there's the societal level. Your decision to walk away doesn't just affect the individuals you leave behind, it also disrupts the larger social systems in which you were embedded. Every relationship exists within a web of interconnected roles, expectations, and norms. When you leave, you disrupt that web. You force others to renegotiate their roles, to redefine their expectations, to rebuild their norms. This process can be deeply destabilizing, not just for the individuals involved, but for the entire social system. Consider, for example, the workplace. When someone leaves a job, it doesn't just create a vacancy, it creates a ripple effect that can impact the entire organization. Colleagues may feel abandoned or overburdened. Managers may scramble to redistribute responsibilities. The culture of the workplace may shift, sometimes in subtle ways, sometimes in dramatic ones. The same is true in families, friendships, and communities. Your absence creates a void, and that void must be filled, often at great cost. But perhaps the most insidious of the unseen consequences is the way your absence can trigger existential questioning in others. When you walk away, you force those left behind to confront the fragility of their own existence. They may begin to question the meaning of their lives, the stability of their relationships, the inevitability of their own mortality. This questioning can be deeply unsettling, but it can also be profoundly transformative. Carl Jung understood this better than anyone. He believed that every crisis, every loss, every disruption is an opportunity for growth, a chance to confront the shadow, to integrate the unconscious, to move closer to wholeness. When you walk away, you create such a crisis for those you leave behind. You force them to confront their own shadows, their own unconscious patterns, their own unmet needs. This confrontation can be painful, but it can also be liberating. And yet, the unseen consequences are not limited to those you leave behind. They also extend to you. When you walk away, you create a vacuum in your own life, a space where something once was, where your energy, your presence, your role once filled the air. This vacuum can be disorienting, even frightening. It forces you to confront the same questions, the same fears, the same uncertainties that you forced others to confront. But here's the crucial insight: the unseen consequences of walking away are not inherently good or bad. They are simply consequences, neutral in themselves, but imbued with meaning by the way we choose to respond to them. For some, your absence may be a source of pain and confusion. For others, it may be a catalyst for growth and transformation. And for you, it may be both, a reminder of the complexity of human connection, the inevitability of change, and the power of choice. As we move forward, we'll explore how to navigate these unseen consequences, how to break free from the patterns that keep us trapped, how to reclaim control over our own lives, and how to find meaning in the face of loss. But for now, sit with this thought: when you walk away, you are not just creating a void, you are also creating an opportunity for growth, for transformation, for renewal. To walk away is an act of rebellion, a quiet but radical defiance of the expectations, roles, and narratives that have been imposed upon you. It is a declaration of autonomy, a reclaiming of your own life. But rebellion is never easy. It requires courage, clarity, and a willingness to confront the forces that seek to keep you in place. So, how do you break free? How do you navigate the emotional, psychological, and societal barriers that stand in your way? The answer lies in a series of counterintuitive shifts in perspective, in mindset, in action that allow you to reclaim your power and chart your own course. The first shift is this: you must stop seeking permission. From the moment we are born, we are conditioned to seek approval from our parents, our teachers, our peers, our society. We are taught to follow the rules, to meet expectations, to play our roles. But when you decide to walk away, you are stepping outside of those rules, those expectations, those roles. And in doing so, you are implicitly rejecting the need for permission. This is easier said than done. The fear of judgment, of rejection, of failure can be paralyzing. But here's the truth: no one can give you permission to live your life. That permission must come from within. It requires a radical act of self-trust, a belief that you know what is best for you, even if others disagree. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He believed that the path to individuation, the process of becoming your true self, requires a confrontation with the shadow, the parts of yourself that you have been taught to reject or suppress. When you stop seeking permission, you begin to integrate those shadow aspects. You begin to embrace your own complexity, your own contradictions, your own truth. The second shift is this. You must embrace the discomfort of uncertainty. Walking away often means stepping into the unknown. It means leaving behind the familiar. It means leaving behind the familiar, the predictable, the safe, and this can be terrifying. The human brain is wired to seek certainty, to avoid risk, to cling to what is known, but growth lies on the other side of discomfort. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." When you walk away, you are embracing that chaos. You are stepping into the void, trusting that something new and beautiful will emerge. This requires a willingness to sit with uncertainty, to tolerate ambiguity, to trust in the process of becoming. When you walk away, you are not just leaving something behind, you are also creating something new. You are creating the possibility for a different kind of relationship, one that is based on authenticity, on freedom, on mutual respect. You are creating the possibility for a different kind of life, one that is aligned with your values, your desires, your truth. And here's the final, most powerful realization. Walking away is not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter, a new journey, a new way of being. It is the beginning of a deeper understanding of yourself, of others, of life itself. It is the beginning of a new kind of freedom, a freedom that is not just about escaping, but about embracing. So, as you sit with this truth, as you reflect on the journey we've taken together, ask yourself this: what would it mean to walk away with love? What would it mean to walk away with self-respect? What would it mean to walk away with the understanding that you are not just leaving something behind, but also creating something new? The answer to these questions is not easy. It requires courage, clarity, and a willingness to confront the unknown. But it is also profoundly liberating. It is a reminder that you are not defined by the roles you play, the expectations you meet, or the relationships you maintain. You are defined by your choices, your values, your truth. And so, as we come to the end of this journey, I leave you with this final thought. Walking away is not just an act of rebellion. It is an act of love. It is an act of self-respect. It is an act of freedom. And in that freedom, wherein lies the possibility for a life that is authentically your own.